So if you got one of these Orbit sprinkler system controllers, I have a little problem. Right now I have it turned off. Kind of done it through a few things before I realized I needed to do a video. But I have it shut off right now. And the reason why is because I'm getting this error. So let me show you the error. Okay, so this is the error I'm getting. And it's very important that you take note of the zone or whatever is having the fault. And in my case, in this error, you can see that it's zone 1 where the fault lies. So what you have to do is push this out and grab the side here and open the panel. And then you'll see here, you have a common wire, and then here's zone 1. This red wire is zone 1. So the first thing you want to do is disconnect both of these wires, the common and your zone, and then go into your app and try to run the zone. That will clear the fault because it doesn't see it. It'll think it's running, but it's not. Then you stop your test on that zone, come back, plug it back in, and try to run it again. All right, once you've cleared the fault and the fault has come back, now you got to determine, is it the wiring or is it the solenoid on the valve itself? What you just did by testing, what we just did was to make sure that this controller isn't bad. If you disconnected the wire and ran the zone and the fault still comes back, then there's a problem with the controller. So now we have to determine, is it a solenoid? So what you can do is you can take the common wire and you can take the red, disconnect it, use a multimeter, put it in ohms, and check. You should get, I think they say it's like between 30 and 40 ohms. If you get nothing, or it just starts bouncing all over the place, then you got a bad solenoid. If you check this wiring and you get nothing, you can go down and test the solenoid at the box and see if you still get that same problem. If you still get the same problem, then it's the solenoid. If you don't and you get a good reading from the solenoid, then it's the wire between your box and your controller and the box of where the valve is. So what I got to do now, so I've already tested that. My solenoid's not getting, it's zero. It's not getting any not amperage, ohms. It's not getting any ohms, so I know that it's got a short. And so now what I need to do is I got to replace it. So step 1 is that you want to go over and shut your sprinkler system water off. Turn that off first. Then when you go to remove your solenoid, you'll turn it like this one here. I'll turn it just a little, and you'll actually feel it, or you'll hear it kind of pop a little bit. That's the water pressure that's currently in the line. That'll relieve the pressure. Then you can go ahead and unscrew it. All right, so here's my box. One of them. I have 2 of them. I have 4 zones in this box and 4 zones in another. Now mine has these little covers on them. You can just lift up to pop them off. Let's see. They just sit on top of it. If I can get it off. I think it's a little clamp on each side. There's one. And then get to the other side. Like that. There you go. Just comes off. And this is the solenoid. So you have 2 wires. One will go to a colored wire, and one will go to white, which is the common. As you can see here, I've already got this one unplugged. That was that valve there. So all you do is disconnect the wire and you just twist the solenoid off. Here's my new solenoid. So all I got to do is take this cover off. It's kind of hard with one hand. Like this. and make sure that it's not cross-threaded. Stick it down in there, and there we go. You have to make sure you don't cross-thread it. Just make sure I'm not. It sits off at an angle. There we go. Turn it until it tightens all the way down. There's a washer in there, so you'll feel it tighten up, and then you go ahead and tighten it some more. I mean, it should come to a complete end. You won't be able to tighten it up any further. So now what I got to do is I got to hook one wire up to the red and then the other wire up to the common. So the common, if I move these wires, you'll see it has one wire from every solenoid going to this white wire. That's your common. And so you need to make sure. Right now, when I pulled that one wire off, it became disconnected. All the wires came disconnected. So I've got to get them all back together, and then the other wire will go to the red. So let me go ahead and get that wired up. So another thing you want to get are these waterproof wire connectors. You don't have to get them from Rainbird. If you go into Lowe's or Home Depot and you go into electrical section, you'll find these waterproof wire nuts. They pretty much try to keep the water out. But if you can't find them anywhere else, if you're right there where the solenoids are in Home Depot or Lowe's, you'll find them right there somewhere. They should be around there. Or ask one of the people in the store. They can find them for you. All right, so here's my red connected to one end, and I got all my commons reconnected to this one. The greatest thing about these waterproof wire nuts is they have silicone inside it to keep it waterproof. So then I put you can tell for this cover, you have this slot right back here, and that goes where the wiring is. So this one will go just like this, and snaps right on. And now make sure it's nice and tight. Now I'm going to go turn on the actual water to the sprinkler system, make sure it's not leaking. Some people have their shut off inside their house. Mine's right here by my wellhead, and there is a what you call backflow preventer valve in here. I turn this. Here is my shut off. You can find another video that I have on how to winterize your system. Come on. Here it goes. So now it's on. Now let's go make sure it's not leaking. Make sure I've got no water filling up, which I don't see anything. So let's go ahead and turn on the test. All right, so my system is turned off right now because I shut it off when I started having this fault. So I'm gonna go ahead and enable watering. It's got my schedule all set up. I'm gonna go ahead to my zones. My problem was with zone 1. Now when I hit test, I should hear it. Come on, I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it. There it goes. And I can see zone 1 is now on and working as it should. This is all zone 1, this front yard. So I can go ahead and turn off the test. Go ahead and stop testing. Everything shuts off like it should. You can see it comes up and says it's now done. And then we'll go back and look at the control panel to make sure there's no errors. So here's my old controller. And once I took it apart, that's what I found was the problem. I mean, it literally blew up something on the board. It's not anything on one of the zones, but obviously this is what happened. Why that started this whole thing. I had my whole controller went down, took it apart, found that, bought a new controller, and then that zone alarm popped up. So now I have the new controller in. Now that I replaced the solenoid, go ahead and close it, and no errors. Right here it said zone 1, and then up here it said fault. It said fault zone 1, and that's how you fix it. Now everything is nice back together, and this thing right here is a rain sensor. Even though this has weather, I have that on there because sometimes the weather just does not work right. It'll say that there's rain coming and we don't get rain, or it'll say there's no rain coming and I'll get rain, and then it will run the night after. So anyhow, that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, concerns, ideas, hit me up, and subscribe. I'll talk to y'all later.